Hi, Professor Redrockets here. Whoop, 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 whoop. Happy Pride, everyone. I would like to wish everyone in the world a happy Pride Month. Now, before I start this video, I'd like to tell you that I'm not going to have as many of the cool graphics and wild video clips as I have in my last videos. This one's more of a personal story. I'm going to tell you about my experiences with Pride and how I have mixed feelings about it now because of them. Now, before my first Pride, I admit that I already had some mixed feelings. I had read different things online and seen all these pictures that made it sort of seem like it was a bit excessive. Maybe it was a bit too much or bad for the image. But when I finally went to my first Pride, all of my concerns kind of just vanished. I was overcome with these feelings of positivity, seeing all of these different people come together. Gay, straight, bisexual, transsexual, every variety of kink. Conservative, liberal, socialist, anarchist, libertarian, activist, all sorts of ethnic groups and religions. All of these people were coming together. All without judgment, celebrating sexuality and, honestly, all of humanity and the human experience. It was actually revelatory to me. I'd never seen anything like that. And at the time, I didn't even mind all the corporate sponsors in the parade. I figured that was just part of it, you know? Like they were just sort of helping out. And I was glad that they'd want to support us, you know? Now flash forward a year later. By this point, I've seen 2 wonderful Pride events. I've also been applying for jobs for years by this point. But because it was the tail end of the Great Recession, I hadn't had anyone calling me back yet. But this time it was different. I was finally old enough to start applying to strip at bars, and so I did. So finally I had my first job. Now flash forward a few months. It's Pride again, and we have all sorts of exciting events going on at the bar. And it's a lot of fun. And for the first time ever, we're going to have a float in the parade. It's so exciting. And I admit that I had some reservations about that. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to march with it or not. But a few days later, we saw a note in the dressing room that said, "Dancers, Pride, no show equals no job." And so I did show up. And we all did our little forced march half naked through the middle of the city. Except for some of us. I didn't see them again. Maybe some of them were closeted, or maybe some of them were straight and didn't want anyone knowing what they were doing. But some of them weren't there after that. And even though I did have fun that time, I feel like it was sort of the beginning of the end of Pride for me. I don't go to Pride as often as I used to now. And it seems like when I do go, the corporate sponsors play a much more prominent role in my eyes. And there's a certain undertone to everything, like I've seen behind the curtain or something. There's an underlying irony to the freedom of it all. Or what appears to be freedom. Because even though you might see something and think that someone is celebrating themselves and celebrating their individuality, sometimes that's just not what's actually going on. Sometimes there's an artificial push behind it. And I think that's true for our culture in general. A lot of the celebration, a lot of the decadence you see, it isn't real indulgence even. By themselves, I don't have a problem with any of those things, but there's something so fake going on. And so at the end of all this, I look back at Pride and I can't see it quite the same way. I feel like there are things that have really changed about it in real life, but it's hard to tell how much of that is just my perspective. And looking at current events, I sort of wonder, what about those straight pride guys? What if they have the right idea? What if they're just doing what they want? I mean, sure, a lot of that is just some bullshit faggoty protest against gay pride. You know, they have their parade, why can't we have ours? We're a bunch of whiny little breeder bitches. And we want our parade, you know, and that is the way it seems, it's true. But at the same time, you know, maybe it's more authentic. Maybe they're really doing what they want. And I can't fault that if it's true. So basically, the moral of the story is that you shouldn't have gay sex. Actually, you should have lots of gay sex, but you should only top. Because tops can't get AIDS. Technically, what tops get is top AIDS, which is actually not lethal and is pretty cool. Most of the cool guys in history, like Freddie Mercury and Joe Bryant, have had top AIDS, and they're remembered as heroes. In fact, Freddie Mercury didn't actually even technically die of AIDS. What happened to Freddie Mercury was a big fucking giant dragon was invading South Africa. He died defending what he believed in, apartheid. And that's why Freddie Mercury is remembered as a hero. But losers like George Michael die of AIDS on Christmas and children celebrate it. Because he was a bottom. So don't be a bottom. You will get bottom AIDS 100% of the time, and that is still socially acceptable to make fun of. In fact, it's cool. It's politically incorrect not to make fun of bottoms who get AIDS. Anyway, this is Professor Redrockets, PhD. I hope that I've helped to illuminate some more perspectives about pride and how it relates to poverty and capitalism, and how in some ways it may sometimes even be very exploitative. I feel like there are a lot of very valid criticisms that go completely unspoken, whereas a lot of inane bullshit about degeneracy gets spoken all the time by complete retards. And it's my job as a professional educator to tell you all about it. As always, I'm your friend, Professor Redrockets. Peace out.